Alright friends, welcome to another Tarkov guide. Today I wanted to tell you about one of my favorite ways to make money, particularly as a scav, and that is Shoreline cache runs. For those that don't know what a cache is, there are these little boxes hidden on most of the maps in Tarkov that can contain pretty much anything from bitcoins to level 6 armors to food to bandages to USEC hats. They can really have anything, so they're kind of hit or miss, but if you hit enough of them, then the odds of you filling your inventory with at least decent stuff become pretty high. And on Shoreline there are more than enough caches for you to hit, even if you only do half of the map, which is why we've kind of split the map into two halves. Usually it's best to pick one and one half and then just run a route, and these are the routes that I like to take for each particular half. These screenshots were taken from MapGenie, and then I just drew the lines between the little pins. So if you want to see the unmarked map, you can go to mapgenie.com/shoreline, which is linked in my description. Or if you want copies of these particular images, they'll be in my Discord, which is also the link to the invite is in the description as well. You can find those in the Tarkov channel. So yeah, what we're doing today is I found the biggest rig that I could, which was a belt combo, and I found the biggest backpack that I could, which was a raid backpack, and that I went into offline mode on my PMC, and we ran around seeing how much stuff I could fit in that backpack, and if I could loot all of these caches and still have space left over, or how much, just see how much we would get from one full run without anyone else having touched anything. So yeah, we'll basically be going over how to find them, what they look like, you know, what are the best ways to approach them so you can see them the most easily, and, you know, landmarks that can kind of give you tips and tricks on how to remember where they are, because a lot of these suckers are pretty well hidden. Maybe not as hidden as the ones in woods, but these ones are still pretty good if you don't know where they are. It's pretty hard to chance on them. So without any further ado then, let's just get into it. Alright friends, here we are at the start of the route on the left half of the map. I got my copy of the map right here, and you should be able to see a copy of the map over there. And yeah, right now we're a little bit above the 1 marker there, just so we can kind of see the area around where this route starts. Right now this is on top of the rocks where the Scav spawn in the woods. The hills are over there, the resort's over there, Sunken Village is over there, and then Path to Lighthouse is kind of to the right. So this route starts in the swamp that the village has sunken into, but it's a good ways out into the muck, so the easiest way to find it is to go out to this little bridge, cross it onto that little island, loot that big old toolbox, and then walk past it, because it's like directly behind it, just way out in the muck. So put your back to it, walk straight out, and it should be right next to that really tall standing up twig on the right side of it. Standing up log, stick, whatever it is. Yeah, sadly there was nothing in that toolbox. We got some ear armor, nothing too crazy. The next one, number 2, is off to the east. Number 3 is actually closer than number 2, but the route just kind of flows a little more smoothly if we skip number 3 for now. But yeah, this next one is the big tell for it is that it's next to a campsite. We won't really see the campsite till we're at the top of the hill, but it's right on the edge of this hill here, next to this tree, like between the thick tree and the skinny tree. The camp tent is right there. You just go to the mouth of the tent. You don't already know where it is. You go to the mouth of the tent, look inside, and then turn 90 degrees left. It's the tree right by the edge of the hill there. And funnily enough, we got the helmet that ear armor went to. But up next, we go down the hill to that power tower. We just run straight to it, and then we turn in parallel to it, to that yellow fir tree, and it's just at the base of that. This one's a ground cache. That last one was a barrel cache. You can tell because it looked like a barrel, and this one looks like planks on the ground. We got an azimuth here. Nothing too crazy from these first couple, sadly, but that's just how it goes with caches sometimes. That azimuth is nice. If I were to get that on a scav, I would probably be pretty happy, because most scav things are pretty small. But here, the next cache is in this field. There are 3 hay bales that you can see really easily. It's the one in the middle. Not the first, not the second. Not the first, not the third. Definitely the second. Yeah, it's a little out in the open, but that's kind of why I like to do this on scavs instead of PMCs. It's just way less risk to go into open areas like that. Next one's by the church, but if you want to take like a detour, the Scav house is over there. There's a dead Scav in there that you can loot and get some extra stuff if you want to go around. But that's at the top of the hill, and then you'd circle back around to this where you see the church. You go to the back of the church and you turn left, and you see a broken down house. You have to walk out into the muck again to get it, but the cache is in the farthest corner from the church, which thankfully is like not the farthest from the entry point into the mud. So you don't have to walk too far there. While we're in the area, there is some loot in the church, so like we may as well get it. There's a toolbox in the corner. There we go. We finally got out of that muck. Can just go right in this side door here. There's a toolbox there. There can be some valuables like horse statues, gold chains, whatever over on the I believe it's on the table, or it might be on the floor somewhere. Honestly, if you just kind of scan the area a little bit, you can find some stuff. There is a chance. The next cache that we're going to, number 5, is actually best to go out the front door. You just follow this little road here, go left at the fork, and then when you get to 2 broken down houses, you go to the one in the back, right into the shed. It looks like, well, there are some muck puddles on the way there, but thankfully you can kind of skip them. It's just hard to tell where exactly they are, so I kind of stepped on the way. We got some thermite out of this one, some crossbow glasses. Not too bad, but nothing really crazy, sadly. Next one is the next block of broken down houses. It's on the left. You just kind of run off, follow the road a little bit more to the left, and go around the broken fences. And then it's directly next to the, again, the next house down on the left from the first set of broken houses. From here, you keep going left, go put that muck puddle on the right, and then run past that bridge, and then run over that wood pile, and here we are at the next one. This is number 8. We got a pipe grip wrench. That's pretty expensive, even to vendors, so not bad there. We're right next to the mayor's house, and that can have some good stuff in it. So, you know, once again, we may as well. It's not exactly caches, and this place is often looted, but really there's no harm in checking. Sadly, nothing in that coat. Some stuff can be on the tables, counters, just loose loot all over the place. This bookshelf usually has something. This time we got a ratchet, which is like another like 80k. There can be something on that table or that toolbox. I was really hoping for bolts, sadly. I was really hoping for bolts, but sadly we didn't get any. There at least. So next one, we got to go to the village. We kind of circle around that next muck puddle. Next muck puddle, that is a tongue twister. To the back of the village, and just go around the fence. It's right next to the shed in the house closest to that mayor's house. Yeah, it's not too hard to find. It's pretty much out in the open. It's actually next to the bush instead of inside the bush. I wonder if that was on purpose, but it is how it is. So like I said, this is the closest house to the mayor's, out in the swamp. So you just run to here and then check next to the shed. It's right there. There's also a coat and a duffel bag, and I think there's another toolbox along with some loose tools. Had to sort the inventory, of course. And there's a thermometer on the bed, spawned loose, and then another toolbox, like I said. Sadly, nothing. But, you know, sometimes it's just how it goes. The next one, we keep running down the road. We skip that right turn for now. We go to the first left turn to these little pipes. The horizontal one has a cache inside of it that you have to hop in to get. The next one after this, that was number 10. This is number 11. Is right next to that dumpster, just inside the fence. So you hop over that tire in those boxes, and it's right there. Kind of easy to miss. For a while, I thought it was in the grass next to the truck, outside the blue fence. But yeah, thankfully it's a little easier to find in there than it would have been out in those bushes by the truck. The next one is past this red shed. You have to go through the brown shed next to the red shed, but it's just outside and around the corner, which we'll go to after we loot the toolbox, of course, because why skip perfectly good loot on your route? So we go out to the right again, and it's right there. Again, next to the bush, not inside the bush. It's kind of a trend with the caches here. Got an Alton face shield, that's like 30 or 40k. Faceless mask, that's just good to have because they're cool looking. A couple guns, not so bad. From here, there's a coat inside this house. Coats are really good to check because they can have keys, which keys can be absurdly valuable. I got one a couple days ago that was like 500k out of one of the coats. So, you know, often it doesn't work out always or often, but when it does work out, it's really nice. The last cache is down that road that we did not go down, so we just run right back across the main road out to this dead end here. This is if you're running as a scav and you have the Svetli dead end extract, it's right at that green truck at the end of the road. There could be something in that trunk. The last cache is just to the left of the butt of the truck. So yeah, that's number 13. That's the last of it. Doesn't really take long to run through. It takes a little longer than this video because I sped up a bunch of the running, but that was 13 caches, and even though we didn't really get anything too terribly insane, like I said, we did get some good stuff and enough decent stuff to make some good money. So just looking at this, we've got a ratchet that vendors for 80k. This vendors for, I think it's another 80k. It might be 60. It's like 60 to 80. We'll assume 60 and we'll say this is 140. That Alton is at least 30, so that's 170. You know, the thermite is probably another 40, so that breaks 200. And we got the helmet, which is class 4, good enough to use in my opinion. Or you can sell it for like, you can vendor it for like 20 to 40k or something like that. The serve kit's useful. Also, that vendors for 30k, so we're talking like, you know, a solid 250 to 300k run here, without finding anything crazy valuable. So, you know, and this is the smaller of the two halves. There are only 13 caches in that run, whereas there are 17 in the other one. So, you know, there are less chances here, but as you can see, it's still between the 13 caches and the couple extra things we were able to loot, we were able to get some good value out of it. And really, it's a very easy route to run once you know where the locations of the caches, and you get used to looking at the landmarks to find them. And even if someone's hit part of the route, it's very rare for someone to have hit all of the route, so you'll almost always get something out of it, even if your scav spawns super late into the raid. But yeah, that's it for the left route, the left half of the map, and the route on that side. So next we're going to talk about the route on the right half of the map. YEET. Alright friends, here we are at the start of the route on the right half of the map. We're right over by Power Station. Again, I got my map here, you got your map over there. Yeah, let's get going. We've got Power Station in front of us. There's a red storage container if you need a landmark to find this exact hill. Shoreline, the resort's up past that container, and we're running from Power Station towards the weather station. The first cache here is what I like to call the drunk tank. It's the tank that's kind of halfway off the bridge. You know, just chilling. Not really sure what happened there. Don't really want to know. But the cache is under it. It's a nice little ground cache. Again, we have a belt combo and a raid backpack. The first cache, we get a really large rig. I think that's only slightly smaller than the belt combo. Actually, no, that's pretty. It's like 7 slots smaller than the belt combo, but it's still. It gives more space than it takes up, so it's good to save and throw stuff inside of. From here we follow the road until you see that big bulb and the satellite dishes that are the telltale sign of weather station. There are no caches here, but this is a detour I like to take in the cache route to go get to go check the safe, and there's a spot that can spawn a GPU next to the safe along with a CPU tower. And while we're here, we may as well hit this duffel bag. There's a med bag in the next room. So, you know, the stuff's here, so we may as well look for it. Can't assume everyone has looted everything, you know, otherwise we won't find anything at all. So the tech spawn is right there on the ground. I always like to check on top of that server rack just in case something's up there, but I haven't seen anything. Safe. It may be like safe to, you know, the basic assumption may be that players have taken all the safes by the time the scavs get in there. But really, I have found so many safes unlooted as a scav on Shoreline, it's insane. There are a lot of drawers on the top floor as well, which we just pointed at and shook our heads vigorously. It's because those take a long time, and if you're scavving, then it eats up a lot of that time. And if you're doing a PMC, people will almost definitely come and fight you because weather station's high traffic. But the next cache is directly north from here. You just kind of run out, take a right, hop over the broken fence, and just keep running until you find that power tower. It's hidden right in the bushes at the base of the foot there, just around the corner. Sadly, you do have to go around the thing to loot it. But just in case you don't want to take a detour in the route of, take a detour from the caches, you don't want to bother checking the weather station. We're going to go over what it looks like to run from Drunk Tank Cache, which is right where we're back. So instead of following the road, you just kind of follow this trench along the whole way. You take a left when it hits the end of that little hill, dodge the bushes and the trees, and there's the power thing. Sadly, my stamina is not infinite even in offline mode, so we do have to walk a ways. Yeah, instead of the back right corner, it's the back left corner relative to where we walked up. But from here, we follow the power lines away from the resort until we get to the next one, and then we just kind of break away from them to go up this next hill past that trench. Directly between the two trees at the top of that hill is where you'll find the next ground cache. This is number 4. We got a nice class 4 armor. Not class 5, not class 6, but it beats what I had on before, and chances are that'll beat whatever you have on your scav, even if you don't like class 4 armor. It vendors for a lot relative to weaker armor, so why not? The next one is kind of just down. You keep going down the hill, and you run to angled towards the wall and road to customs. It's kind of the biggest bush you see from that side, but if you have trouble finding that bush, the easiest way is to find those train tracks, run to the end, and look like to the left. That's kind of the easiest way that I found. It's the big bush to the left of the end of those train tracks. The next one is on the south end of the radio tower at the top of the hill. It's inside this bush, just a little outside of it actually, right next to the bush. It always makes me nervous that I'm gonna get sniped from weather station when I loot that one, but that's just me. The next one is further down this hill towards the coast. There's a landmark that we use to find the correct bush that this one's in. It's that box right there. So you kind of set yourself on that corner and look out. It's that big bush right in the center of the screen. Not that little bush on the left or the one behind that, but this big one. You have a clear line of sight to it from that box. And you can actually see the cache glowing just a little bit from a pretty good distance away. Yashanka, some bolts, a Mark 47. You know, a nice brand new gun for your troubles. If you need a Yashanka, that would be really nice to find for that Ragman quest. But next one is at the broken down house in the middle of these hills. This one's not really hidden so well. It's just right on the southeast corner of it. We got ourselves another really large rig. Relatively large rig. It's a bit smaller than the one we found. Oh no, that's actually the same size. It's just that it takes up 3 less spaces in my inventory, so it's also good to have. The next cache is very close. You can look down at that big hill to the south and then just go a little to the left of it. Eventually in the forest you'll see a little road sign right there that we're aiming at, and then you just look at the tree to the left of that. It's between the tree and the other tree and that bush, kind of in the center of that little triangle. But yeah, this, as you can see, this one's kind of going quite a bit better than the previous run, and that just kind of illustrates the unpredictability of caches. Some of these things aren't so valuable, but we've gotten a vase, we've gotten a bunch of bolts, guns, armor. It's been good. I think we have 3 pistols now. Which, fun fact, Actually, no, we'll explain the route to this. You turn right from that cache, go over that hill to the next big rock you see, kind of to the left of the big hill. And this one's just kind of in a little crevice in this rock on the east side of it. This is number 10 that we're running to. So again, from the signpost, from the number 9, you just kind of turn around, run over the hill, and find the big rock to your left. And that's that. For the next one, you run around the rock, kind of back inland, and then west till you see broken houses. You want to go to the right broken house, the more broken one. Go to that little plank, and you should see 2 bushes out on those hills over there. Well, there's that one way over there. That's the wrong one. There are 2 identical bushes. The correct one is the slightly more hidden one behind that tree. It really blends in. But the cache is in that closest bush to that southwest corner of the extremely broken house, not the slightly broken house. Got ourselves too many guns to actually fit here. I really did my best to try and make something fit, but there was no saving it. Although in reality, the play would have been to throw the mask, 100%. I just didn't really think about it, and PP19 isn't that valuable, all things considered. So the next one is in the construction area. You kind of double back for this one past the slightly broken house to the road. And the easiest way to find this one is to look at that big rock on the left where the other cache was, the previous one. And then look straight across the road from there to that white building. There's a 1-story white building in front of the 2-story one. Run to that 1-story one, and then just behind it in the pile of tires. It's right there, just chilling, nice and in plain sight. If you don't want to run out to 11, you can avoid doubling back by just this is number 10 we're back at. So you just run along the rock and go straight, literally straight across the road, and that's where number 12 is, right here. So whether you skip 11 or not, this one's not so hard to find. From here, it's a bit of a hike up to number 13. We have to run all the way down to the corner of the map, past CCP temporary, and over to the road at Railbridge extract if you're on a PMC. It is not a scav extract from here. There are some minefields. You can kind of see those little triangle signs way out over there. Just don't go on that side of the road. You don't need to get too close to that big, scary, military-looking base. So we just keep running down the road. Again, see those craters? That's a sure sign of landmines. Stay out. I like to wait until I start seeing grass again to actually hop over this little white fencing. The sad part about these is you have to jump. You can't like walk over them. But from here you go up to the railroad. This is where you can get close to the military base. Run up to the railroad. It's just kind of in the tall grass between the 2 train cars. We got a Twitch Rivals P.A.C.A, which I think is, as far as P.A.C.As go, that is exceptionally rare. We got ourselves a book that'll vendor for a good little chunk. Some kick tape, always nice to have. And then the next one's very close. You just kind of turn towards the river. Right near the bridge, there's some sticks, some twigs. It's just kind of it's underneath them, kind of like in a conjunction of them. Got some rubles and some med tools out of that one. And again, we've got a bit of a hike here ahead of us. Up to this one, this number 15 that we're going to next is very close to Road to Customs, right on the riverbank. So it's pretty easy to miss if you run too far away from the riverbank. But the tell is that there is this this kind of cut inwards where the bank kind of goes inland. It's that cut right there with the big rubble inside. There's a yellow tree and a small bush next to each other. It's inside the small bush right on the edge. I know there's bushes all over the place and trees all over the place, but this is pretty much the only bush like overhanging the boundary of the river like that. We got ourselves another Yashanka GP coin. Those are nice. Some good stuff. The From here, mostly, this is where I end most of my routes when I'm on a scav that has road to customs extract. Because road to customs is just up the road to the right. But if you don't have that and you have north fence passage, then these next two are very you know, they're sort of on the way, but you're already running so far anyways, you may as well go a little out of your way to get them. This next one, number 16, is over at the resort. It's on the plateau that the building sits on, but it is not inside the fence, so you're not quite exposing yourself to people in there that much. So it's a little unsafe to go for number 16, but not as unsafe as it could be. So from here, you run back over the hill that had number 4 on it. You run past 5 and 6 with the radio tower and the large bush next to the wall. You have to run past the power lines again over to this hill, which has a house on top of it. That's called House on the Hill. Kind of busted. There is some gun parts or some gun boxes in there that you can loot if you're of a mind. But for now, I wanted to just focus on getting up here. You go up the corner, past the corner of the resort, and back around. That's the east wing of the resort right there. And the tell for this is when you see a small tree, a small bush, and a rock next to each other, then the cache is in the bush. When you find that and you see it enough times, it starts to kind of stand out as maybe not unique, but different enough to recognize. But we've actually started to run out of room, so I'm just kind of making some space, using all that extra room that the rigs have gotten me, but still no room for another 2x2 item. It's okay, those were just ear armor, so I'm not really too worried about that. From here, we run straight north. Well, straight-ish north. You run past this fire on the right. There's like a fountain if the fire is not there. And you just keep running straight north. It's right on the wall. Right near that mountain up ahead. At the border of the map. You skip past those power lines. And there are 2 bushes right there. Very large, very identical bushes. The tree, or the cache is directly between the bushes. And this is number 17 on the route. So this is the last one you find. And then north fence, we'll run over to it because that's just what I usually do when I'm in this area. Looting caches, because 90% of the time I'm scavving anyways. Another rig, but really no reason for us to take that or way for us to do it. So yeah. From here, it's just a little ways east along the wall. When you see the fence meet the mountain, that's how you know you're at North Fence Passage. So yeah, all in all, this half of the map did give more, but that's also because we just had more caches to hit. We'll open up the rigs and give you a full look of everything we got. Stuff's kind of spread out, but it's a little hard to tell exactly where your loot is when you have that many things to shove them into. But yeah, those, as far as like a quick estimate of what we got, those bolts are like, we'll say 35k, so that's 70. This is like another 30. Maybe 20. We'll go with the least estimate. We'll go like 90 there. Keck tape's like 15, so that's 100. Vase is like 30k, so 145. The book I think is 20. Go 155. The guns and stuff. The armor would vendor for like 80k, so that breaks 200. The guns are probably, well, the Mark 47's probably 30 to 40. Taz is like 12. TT's probably 12. Those are both probably 10 to 20. So, you know, we're looking another 200, 300k. Oh, excuse me. We're looking at another 200 or 300k just with vendoring the rest of the stuff. I don't know how valuable a Twitch Rivals pack is. It's not insanely valuable like a Twitch Rivals armband as far as I know. But it is good. Diaries are useful and they can sell pretty decently because there's a good barter with them. EP coins are valuable. And yeah, just a lot of, like I said, decent stuff and some legitimately good stuff. So these caches are so spread out, and these ones are more hidden than the left half ones. So if you're able to make the run, then you're more likely to be the first one to these caches, because usually in most times that I've seen, even if someone does hit a couple of the caches on the way, they don't hit all of them, because really, unless that's all you're doing, you don't have time to do a lot of other stuff. So yeah, and most people don't know all those locations. So if you know them, you can take advantage of it. You can get all this good stuff that people leave behind, and make the most out of your scavs on Shoreline. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Another good spot to loot in Shoreline is the cottage and the village. That would be Sanitar's cottage and the village that we were in on the left half of the map when we ended. There's a lot of stuff to loot in there, and so much so that I'm gonna do a separate video on it, just because it's kind of chaotic. Everything's close together, and this video is really about caches. So if you want to see that video, check the description. If you want to see more Tarkov content, make sure you dab on that like button, yeet that subscribe, turn notifications on. Even if I'm not streaming Tarkov, my two main games are Path of Exile and Escape from Tarkov. So even if I'm playing Path of Exile or a different game, I'm always happy to answer questions when I live stream on weekdays from noon to at least 4 p.m. Eastern US time. And yeah, I'd be happy to help however I can. So if you don't want to see me live, you can also feel free to leave a message in the comments. That's perfectly legitimate as well, and I will do my best to respond to as many of them as possible. I appreciate you watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope it helped. And yeah, I hope you have good runs. Yeet!